Good morning, I'm Mike from Rocky Mountain Wet Shave, and it's probably been about a year since I did the video on my wet shaving routine. So today we're going to do it again, because being a beginner wet shaver, a lot of things have changed in that past year. So I'm going to hop in the shower, and after that we'll get going. Alright, so I've had my shower. Let's get down to it. Like I said, a couple of things have changed since the last time, and one of those is what I do with my shaving soap. So I got this on my Yellowstone trip, and this has become my shaving mug. And one of the things that I did was melt my soap into the bottom there so that it wouldn't swish around while I was doing it. And another thing that I do is to really get the soap and the brush soaked together so that I can start getting that buildup in the brush, and then also bloom the soap, bring the oils to the top, and get a nice slick base of bloom water onto my face to start off the shave. Now, full disclosure, one thing that hasn't changed is that I typically shave without a shirt on. However, because I don't want to creep you guys out, I decided to wear a shirt for all my shaving videos. So if you noticed in the first video of my shaving routine, one of the things that I did was build my lather on top of the soap in the mug. Well, I don't do that anymore. I just load the brush, and when I do a soap, I lather in my hand and then partially on my face, and then when I use a cream, I use my G12 scuttle and I lather in there. So let's get this lather built. We'll get it on my face and talk about some of the other changes and things that I've started doing since I created that first video. So in the first video, I had pointed out that my Williams lather was coming out pretty thin, and that I would have to re-lather partially through my shave, usually around my chin area. Well, that's one of the reasons why I do a hand lather before I go to my face now, because the tactile feedback in my hand lets me know whether I'm getting a good lather built up and a good slickness, whether I need to add more water. So that's one of the vital changes that I've made. Another thing is, you can see now as a result that I have a much thicker, healthier lather here, and that results in an all-around much better shave. Another huge difference that I don't want to fail to mention is my shaving razor here. Now, you guys have seen this in most of my videos, but if you don't remember, go ahead back and take a look at that first video of the shaving routine, and you'll see that what I was using was a single edge Ever-Ready 1924, and I still use that razor occasionally, but it's not my go-to razor anymore. This Gillette Slim really does a fantastic job, and it's great for pretty much every occasion. You know, I've had days when I do get razor burn because I do something stupid, like I don't take a shower beforehand, or I don't get quite the lather that I should because I'm in a rush and I'm being impatient. And the next day I need to use a less aggressive razor. So this Gillette really does the trick, since I can dial it back and give myself a much more mild shave. Another change that I noticed when I went back and watched it again was that for whatever reason, and I don't know if I can give a rhyme or reason or an advantage or disadvantage, but it seems now that I shave the sides of my face first, and then I'll move into the goatee area and get that taken care of. And I don't really know why that is, but in the first video and in my earlier routines, I would basically shave across my face, shaving down in one spot, down in the next, and then down on the far side, which is a little bit different from what I'm doing now. But again, like I say, I don't know if I do that for any reason. Just something that kind of evolved over time. Now here we are towards the end of the shave. I've still got a really nice lather on there. It's a little bit thinner in there, but I applied it thinner at that point. For some reason, the peak of my chin is just kind of hard to get a thick one on, but you can see this lather is pretty healthy and good to go, whereas when I was doing the Williams in the last one, it just wasn't the case. Now, I'm rinsing off with cold water here, which is no change from what I started out doing, because it does help close up the pores and keep your skin from getting too irritated. One thing that I do differently though is I dry off with a clean washcloth every day, a new one. It cost me maybe $5 for a pack of, I think, like 14 of them. So, it's a nice, cheap little luxury, and it keeps my face nice so that I'm not using a dirty rag and getting any bacteria in there. One thing that I do want to mention, so that I don't sound like I'm bashing on Williams, is that after I had done that first video, I did actually learn how to make a really good lather with Williams, and part of that was hand lathering it. So that was one of the changes that came from using Williams and learning how to use it. But the one problem for me was that was when I was living in an apartment before I had my house built, and we had soft water there. When we moved here, it was just hard water. So it totally changed the profile and my ability to get a good lather from it, and whether it be the product or my level of skill, I just wasn't able to make it happen. So I still have a few pucks sitting around. I'd probably take them on a travel with me and hope that a hotel had soft water. because I do still love that product. But it just doesn't work out for me at this point. So I've gotten all cleaned up here, and at this point, originally I used to bust out the alum block and get my face all prepped and taken care of that way so that I could feel and see where the rough spots were. Well, now I just kind of take my hands over it and I feel it. I'm not using the alum block anymore, but I do have this Nivea for Men Sensitive Shave Post-Shave Balm, and I use that, and just a little bit does the trick. About that much, and get it on the face. And again, it helps me feel my face. It's nice and cool, gives my skin a cooling effect and a calming effect. You know, but the thing is, I don't really get too much active irritation immediately following my shaves anymore. So I think the benefit of this is mostly just to hydrate and even make me smell nice, because I do like the smell of it. It's pretty clean stuff. So after that's all done, I'm not using that old brass razor anymore. I've got this chrome plated one, so the cleanup is a little bit different. I'll open the doors just enough that the blade won't come out, but water can get in there. And I'll give it a good rinse, make sure the hair's out, and tighten it just a bit, still leave it loose. I'll give it a good shake, and then I'll open it all the way, and I usually set it in my G12 scuttle right on the countertop and let it dry that way. Out here in Colorado, the air is very dry. I don't have to really worry about that thing sitting there wet all day. It'll dry off very, very quickly. So after that, I'll move on over to my brush, which is still full of lather, and a pretty good lather at that. Nice and hydrated. Definitely good to go for a second pass if I was into that kind of thing. But I think I got a damn fine shave just doing the one pass there. Very happy with it. So I get it soaking wet, and I just squeeze out the water. Go ahead and get it wet again. Squeeze out the water. Now I'm careful that I don't pull on it. And once I've gotten the water wrung out, I'll just kind of fluff the bristles. And again, after watching my previous routine video, I don't think there was really any change on the way that I maintain my brush. Back to here again. I've got my shaving mug. This might actually be a soup bowl. Might be what it was intended for. But I like it with the handle there. And I've got my puck melted into there. I'm not going to rinse that out. I'll just let it dry inside of there and give it a little wipe, and I'm going to stick it in the cabinet down below here. After that, take the towel and I'll wipe up the counter, because I got a wife and I don't want to make her mad. We both pretty much share the responsibility of cleaning up after ourselves. Makes life a lot easier. Well, I guess that's pretty much it. That's my shaving routine. That's the way I've been doing it now. Key points: starting with a shower, soaking the brush and the soap, lather in my hand so that I can get that tactile feedback, and after that I'm not using the alum block anymore. I'm using the post-shave balm. I think those 4 things are actually pretty big things, pretty serious changes in it. It's led to a better feel for my face, a better lather, which leads into the first thing that I just mentioned, and you know, all around just a better experience. And like I said in the first video, there was a lot of room to improve on my shaving technique, but it was still the best shave that I was getting ever. Far better than any cartridge razor that I'd ever done. And I feel like I've really multiplied the effects of that over this last year by taking advantage of those new techniques and things. So I want to give a big credit to Sharpologist, or Mantic59, if you guys watch his videos. He's taught me a lot. Give a big shout to Badger and Blade and all the guys on there who have sent me products, sent me blades to try, given me advice, talked about their own shaving routines. And then again, another one that I started out watching big time in the beginning was Nick Shaves. He does a great job, and I've really enjoyed them. Really appreciated all the information and the feedback that I've gotten from all of those different places. So I hope you liked this video. I hope you found it helpful for yourself, and if you did, share it with a friend who you're trying to convince to start wet shaving, and you know, let them use it to maybe get a little bit ahead of where I started out. And I think that my routine is pretty effective, and if a beginner were to do this from the beginning, they'd be light years ahead of where I was when I started, because looking back, it was a mess. So hey, thanks for joining me this morning, and I'd appreciate your like, your subscription, and any feedback that you have to give me, because again, I'm still learning. So maybe in a year things will have changed enough that I can do another routine video and show you what I've learned over the past year. So hey, take care, have a good one.